All right, everybody, welcome back to another video. So today is the first episode of the mock showcase series that I would like to do. So my boy Rich Boy J does a mock showcase that's all about Star Wars, and I love it. And he's the absolute expert on Star Wars mocks. And so I decided I'd like to do the same thing, but not just solely about Star Wars. I like to look at mocks that are from other things and other things that I like. So I also just wanted to do this series because I want to look at more mocks and just kind of learn from them, and it's just a good way to learn how to build better and stuff like that, and also for you guys to see because I think the builds I look at deserve recognition from everybody. So today we're gonna look mostly at a bunch of castle builds, and we're gonna start actually with a build that is not a castle. It's a Star Wars mock. So the first mock we're gonna look at is Patrol on Endor by, and I'm gonna butcher this name so badly. I'm very sorry. Jesse Van Den Oetelaar, I think. On Instagram, he goes by LegomocFan, and I highly suggest following all these people. And yeah, this mock is just really cool. So this guy is mostly a castle builder, and I think he says that in the post, like, "Oh, I usually build castle, but I decided to go for a Star Wars mock." And you can definitely tell that this is a castle builder. It's kind of hard to explain, but basically just the way the terrain is, the way that the freeform kind of is, it's very castle-y. A lot of castle builds are like that. And of course, the first thing that you look at is the Endor bike with the Scout Trooper on it. So this bike is actually not his design. He said it's the one that Brick Fanatic made, and it's just a good little design. It's obviously not the Lego set, and it just looks really good. So now moving on from the speeder bike is like it's I don't know, it's not like the main focus of the mock. It's just a small portion of it. I feel like the main focus is the trees and the landscape. So let's look at the trees. Let's talk about the trees. The trees are using four different tree techniques, which I think is really interesting. So on the far right, you can see the tree that has the dark green on it, and it has like those little kind of Technic pin things, not pins, Technic holders or whatever. And I've seen people use that for trees, and it works pretty well. He also has the dark brown like elephant trunk piece holding up the leaves on the top, and it looks pretty cool. It's very like top heavy, I guess, which is interesting. And then the next tree next to it, which is the biggest one in the center, it's using I think the mixel joints for the branches, and then it's basically like a snot technique. I can't remember, or I can't tell exactly how he's doing this, but it looks like they're kind of clipped to things. They might be clipped to something in the middle, which is the way he's holding the trunk together. My only critique here is that the Endor trees should probably be a lot thicker because this is based on the redwood forest in California, and those trees are very bulky and thick, and these are a little too thin if you're gonna do Endor. This one is like kind of thicker, but it's not as thick as it maybe should be. But yeah, that's just my one critique. It's not a huge deal. And then moving on to the left side of the mock, we have the last two tree techniques. So the one in the very center, like the one you can see the one you can see first, is actually using the technique that I used in my Takodana mock, which is using the hose piece, the reddish brown hose piece, and then stacking the leaf elements on it. And it looks really good. I mean, I'm obviously biased towards it because I like that design. What he's doing here, though, is he's actually stacking them much closer together, which is interesting. I didn't do that with my trees, and then he leaves the top bit open. I also didn't do that with my trees. I had them all like kind of spread out, and then the top wasn't kind of poking out, like the tube wasn't poking out, which I think to me looks a little bit better, but that's okay. And then the tree behind him is using clips to hold the leaf pieces on them, and it looks really good. It looks like a pine tree, honestly. And it's a really nice design. I love these tree designs. I love these using multiple designs. For me, I haven't decided what kind of design I want to use for the Dino theme park yet. So looking at these designs is really awesome, and I might honestly use a couple of these. Like the one on the left where he has the clips, I really like that design. I might actually use that kind of design. But the rest of the landscape looks awesome. It's freeform. There's a lot of snot and stuff. The vegetation is great. It's not super like it's not super dense, which is nice because Endor it's kind of dense, but in the speeder chase it's really quite open, so the speeders don't crash all the time, I guess. And he does that well by having like this nice reddish brown path in front of the speeder bike, but it still looks like kind of random enough that it doesn't look weird or anything. It looks very natural. And then he has this nice rock on the far right of the mock, which looks great. He has some dark green in there, which is really nice. Having some like kind of moss is what that looks like. And he has some nice layering at the very bottom where the rocks kind of are sitting on top of each other. It looks really great. So yeah, overall this mock is awesome. I really like it. And I always love looking at Endor mocks. They're always just really cool. Okay, so now on to the next mock, which is a small little castle mock. So I chose this one because it has some really clever part usages in this. One that I never ever would have thought to do, which is the minifigure actually. So this is the monk minifigure, which is using the villager torso from Minecraft, and it just works perfectly. Like it's just it's so clever. I love it. It looks awesome. And then of course the floor looks amazing. He's using a bunch of corner tiles in what is it? That's light bluish gray, right? The lighting looks kind of weird, but no, it's dark bluish gray because the quarter tiles are light bluish gray. So then he has these quarter tiles in the corners of them, and I think he's having that layered on top of another layer of the exact same thing. It's kind of hard to tell, but if you look at the very bottom of the mock, you can kind of tell what I'm talking about. And the floor just looks really awesome. It has a really nice pattern to it, and you can tell he definitely spent a lot of time working on that, and it looks awesome. And then, and what makes this even cooler though is that, so he's using the corner tiles for the light bluish gray sections so that he can fit the little quarter tiles in there, but then on the back side of it, he's able to make another kind of diamond shape, and then he has a tile, I think it's a tile in the middle of that, and it looks really awesome. Like it works so well. The floor just kind of flows together super well. And then if we look at the corner, we have the little desk, which nothing really special about that, but the chair is using a shield piece for the back, which I think looks really good. And he's kind of, the way he's positioned the mock, you can't really see the boat tile that he's used to connect the two pieces together, which I think is clever because it might look a bit odd if you look at the back of that chair, but the way he's positioned it, you can't really see that, which is cool. And then of course the wall design looks awesome. He's using the classic snot technique for bricks where you have the different snot bricks and then the tiles on top of them, and then to get them to kind of come out and have that 3D look, he has 1x2 plates or any kind of plate behind it so that they stick out a little bit, which is really, really cool. It's a classic technique, but it works really well here. And so yeah, that's that little mock. And I forgot to mention who this is by. This is by Truncy on Instagram. So he's really cool. Go follow that guy. He says that this is a castle room project, so hopefully that means he's going to be making this bigger, which is really cool, and I'm really excited to see what that big project is going to be. Okay, so now on to the next mock, which is also a castle mock, and this is by Viking Bricks, and this is called simply The Arch, which makes sense because that's exactly what this is about. So the very first thing that I want to look at is the arch itself, because that's the main focus of the mock. It's literally titled The Arch, so that's what I'm going to look at first. It just looks so amazing. Oh my god, the middle of the arch is just like, wow, it looks awesome. So basically he has all these slopes just kind of jammed in together, and I think they're holding themselves in together just by friction alone, which is just really awesome. Like I don't think they're actually connected to anything. They're just all jammed in there, and it looks kind of fragile, but I imagine it's not actually that bad. But yeah, it looks awesome, and then it's held in place, or it's kind of on top of an arch of like all these cheese slopes at like different angles and stuff, and it just looks really cool. And then the other side of the arch, or like the main kind of pillars of the arch, look really awesome too. They have these really interesting colors. They have dark green and medium nougat as well in the middle, so it's just like it has a lot of interesting colors in the arch that makes it look really cool, but it's not overboard. Like it's still mostly light bluish gray, but you can tell he's just kind of throwing in these little hints of color throughout, and it looks really awesome. And the way that the pillar is, like, I don't even know, like he's angled the bottom of the pillar, but then the top is still sitting on it normally. I don't really know how that works, but I imagine it's just jumper plates and that's really the only thing that's happening, but it still looks really cool. And then now onto the vegetation part of the mock. It looks awesome. It looks really cool. There's a lot of different pieces being used. It's very like grassy, which is kind of the point. And he's using a lot of different stock pieces, stem pieces. He also has these like blade pieces poking out as well, which look really cool. And he has a little bit of olive green kind of, again, just splashed in there, just for a little bit of a hint of a different color as well. And then, of course, the trees are awesome. So the technique that he's using here is a technique where you hook the leaves together, and that's basically the only way that they're connected. And then, of course, they're probably connected to like a snot brick at the top or whatever. But basically, actually, no, I think they're just kind of free floating on the stem piece, which is probably just a bunch of like circular bricks. I think the dark green one is a little bit different, but yeah, it looks really cool. And again, he's using the colors that he's already used before. So he's used dark green and olive green. So his color palette is very restrained and very limited in this mock, which is really cool. And I appreciate that quite a bit. And then, of course, he has all these other bits of ruins kind of everywhere, which is cool because this is very reminiscent of Takodana, where there's all these like blocks of things everywhere. And he's done a good job by just simply laying out these different brick pieces everywhere. He has them at different angles, which look really cool. And then one of my favorite things about this mock is the little brick built deer on the left side next to the olive green tree. It's just so cute, and it's really clever actually, like really clever part usage there, which is great. And he even has like a little nest with an egg on it, so it's kind of like adding a little bit of story to this mock, which I don't know the full story of it, but basically I imagine it's like a lone ranger looking guy, which is the minifigure, and then he's just passing through these old ruins and life is kind of emerged around it with the deer and the little nest for a bird or whatever. So it's really cool. It's just a cool little, actually it's quite a big mock. I was going to say a little mock. It's quite big actually. It's very, very big. But yeah, it's really awesome. Super great mock. Go check out Viking Bricks. He does a lot of really great medieval stuff. So yeah, that will be the end of the video. And before we end this out though, I wanted to say if anybody has any mock that they want me to check out, like if you're following somebody on Instagram and you love what they do, and you want me to see it, and you want me to review it here, then go ahead and send it to me because I'm always looking for new stuff. For next week's episode, I'm probably going to look more at maybe Harry Potter and probably some more castle stuff as well. I'm just gonna be looking at basically a variety of things that I like to look at, and some Star Wars will be thrown in there as well. But yeah, if you have anything that falls into those categories, castle, Harry Potter, Star Wars, dinosaurs, send it to me. I would love to check it out and look at it on this and look at it in this series. So yeah, that will be the video for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.